Hi everybody, Chris Stux from Custom Fitness Personal Training Studio. I don't know what you call them, but I hear a number of things from bat wings to the second wave to just that jiggle under my arm, and everybody wants to know how to get rid of it. Well, we're in February already and spring's coming, which means shorter sleeves, those kinds of things, and to some that's exciting, to others it's terrifying because they just don't know what to do to get rid of this back side of their arm. It's called our tricep, and it's actually one of my favorite places to work. So he's going to give you some tips and tricks on working that today. Because a lot of times when we get into tricep exercises, we go through the motions, but we don't always do them correctly. And if you're not doing things correctly, they're not going to work very well, much like everything else. So we want to make sure that we got correct form and technique as we're going through these exercises to make sure that you get the most out of what you're doing and that you're not just wasting your time. So there's one in particular that most people tend to drift towards, and that's the dip exercise. Now that can be done on a machine or on a bench, on a box, whatever you've got, but I'll be showing you on a bench today, and we're going to work on the form of that. So whenever you sit down, keep in mind that a dip exercise, you can do that with straight legs or bent knees. That's your choice. So bent knees would make it easier, straight legs would make it harder as you get stronger in it. Some people add weights and things like that. As far as the legs are concerned, the only thing to watch out for is to make sure that the knees don't hyperextend, so if they are straight, that you're not popping that knee all the way down towards the floor, but rather keeping it soft. So what's the rest of the exercise? Well, for our dip exercise, we're going to be working on the back side of the arm and the triceps. We'll also be getting through the shoulders. What we don't want to do is start to put too much stress on that shoulder joint, and that's where this can be a good exercise, but it may not be the perfect exercise for you. So we'll go over another one here in a moment that might be better if you've got some issues with your shoulders. So we're going to place the hands right beside our hips on the bench or on the bar or wherever you're at. If you're on a bench, you have the fingertips hanging off the edge and have the palm on the bench here. And then what we're going to do is we're going to actually roll our shoulders back. So we don't want to start the dip in this position here because that shoulder is already pushed forward and the bone here is actually going to stop you in that position. But if you'll open that shoulder, now it's going to have free range of motion through that humeral head. So we want to be sure not to round the shoulders, but rather keep it nice and flat. So we're going to step the feet off, roll those shoulders back. We're in a nice tall position. From here, our goal is to sink the hips straight down, meaning that you feel that bench on your back the whole time, whether your legs are bent or straight. We take it straight down by bending the elbows. Now, yes, that shoulder starts to dip forward here, but we only go so far that our shoulder and our elbow line up, not so far that we drop the shoulder below the elbow. Then we press right back up. So we come down to that elbow height, right back up. We want to make sure that the whole time that our shoulders, our chest is open, and then our hips are sliding right along that bench, so we're not pulling out away from the bench as we drop down, but rather just right here, down and up. So again, that's going to be really great for the back side of your arm. What it's not really great for is your wrist or your shoulder, depending on what surface you're using. So a lot of people use an assist machine where you've got, say, a bar that you're holding onto, and you've got a flat wrist. That would help the wrist issue, but still a lot of stress on the shoulders. So what else can be done to work that muscle? Well, you could turn it around on that same bench, and you could do a tricep push-up. You could do that on a bar as well. But if we did a tricep push-up here, we put our hands about shoulder width apart, so right underneath the shoulders. We'd step our feet back. On the bench, it's easier. You could also do it on the floor, but the triceps are a little bit weaker of a group. If you're experiencing that muscle drop down underneath the arm, you may not be ready for the floor yet, so this might be a better position. You're going to hold that core in tight, and then all we do is drop down by bending the elbows, squeezing them into our ribs, go as low or as high as you want, and then right back up. So you could leave the hips up a little bit and still get some benefit here if you're new to exercise, or you could drop them down, take it down. You could also take it to the floor and make it more challenging. Now again, if you got some wrist issues, that might not be the best fit for you on the bench. You might want to do that down on a harder surface or with some handles to be able to do that easier for those wrists. All right, so exercise number 3 is probably the most universal exercise as far as anybody can do it. And you can easily use different methods to make it a little bit harder or a little bit easier. So a cable machine, a band, those are usually your best options for this one. So we're just going to step right over here. Got a band set up here. So we're going to take it to where we've got, excuse me, our hands just a little bit more narrow than our shoulders. So it's not as wide as our shoulders. It's not in all the way together. So we're going to start out just a little bit more narrow. We're going to face the machine that we're using or the attachment point that we're using. And stand up nice and tall, shoulders back. So again, we've got full range of motion. And from there, we're just going to pull those elbows into your sides. So that's the part that a lot of people miss, is keeping those elbows glued to your ribs. So we want to glue them in. Palms start out facing each other like you were clapping. So elbows are glued in tight, we press down, and then we open at the bottom, pressing the palms to the back. Bring it back up, palms face in, press it down, palms face back. But notice the whole time, the elbow does not move, so it stays right there next to my side the whole time. If we take it down and we start to move and we move those shoulders, we've just lost the engagement through that tricep as far as an isolatory factor. And so we really want to make sure the elbows stay in, press down and open, right back up. Now you could do that a little more intensely by pressing down, opening, and taking it wider, but not letting the elbows fly away from the side. So yes, they'd move a little bit, but they're still trying to stay in tight and then right back up. By having that rotation, we're going to get a full work on that tricep, and you're going to start to see some differences pretty quick. What else does it take to make that work? As far as tightening up the backside of your arm and getting ready to wear those sleeveless shirts, some great nutrition. So make sure that you're eating well, that you're getting a full, well-rounded exercise program and some cardiovascular work to be able to burn off the excess fat while you're building that muscle, so that way you can see all the nice tone of that muscle coming through. If you'd like more help with a program like that to get you ready for spring and summer, we'd be happy to do that for you. Feel free to give us a call, 806-322-3188, or you're welcome to leave a comment below. We'll be happy to get back with you on that. But you know, that's kind of what we do. We design a custom program for each of our clients, custom nutrition, exercise, even into the habits that they're doing every day. So we want to make sure that you succeed. We try to make sure that we take all the excuses out of it, and then we've got an answer for just about everything. Hope you got something good out of today, and we'll talk to you soon.